Something that you can do here, I know I'm stopping this super early, but we obviously like string and small string groups seem like kind of a backbone of at least like the start of this game. From what I've played so far, I've been in the city. And you can see that the string players, in order to get this really like lilting light tone, are rotating their wrist a little bit and playing with less of the bow hairs in contact with the string. So what that does is, if you're playing with full contact, like these are the bow hairs on your bow, and you're playing with them like flat against the string like this, it's more points of friction on the string, so you're going to get a bigger sound. If you tilt the bow hairs and you're playing with less of the bow hairs, it's lightening up how much of the hair is in contact with the string, and that's how we're getting this really like beautiful lilting tone. So you can kind of see the wrist rotation, and if you watch the hair closely, you can see that. Let me make this higher quality so that you can see it easier. You can also see, I'm going to point this out as well, just because we're really in my wheelhouse now with string playing. The highest volume area that you could get would be playing right here across these strings. This would be kind of like where you're getting like a brighter tone that's going to project more because of the positioning of the bow over this gap. If you play here where this instrumentalist is playing, you can see that we're like coming up on almost the fingerboard here. And this is also going to give us a lighter sound because we're actually playing where we have less like resonant power on this part of the string compared to here if we're pulling the bow across there. So that's another cool, like you can see that there are multiple technical pieces at play to get this kind of tone, which is cool. This is some doubling again with the strings and the vocalist, which is really lovely. One other thing that's happening in this piece that I think is really cool and is worth mentioning is if you're listening to it with headphones on, you can feel that each of the instrumentalists are placed in kind of this semicircle around your sphere of listening. If you're paying attention to that, it sounds like the cellos are louder on this side of your head than on this side of the head, and the high strings like the violin and viola are louder on this side. And then obviously they've placed the bass a little bit center, which is awesome choice for this size of a orchestra. And we have two different panning perspectives with orchestra. So you can either do like the orchestra's perspective, where it feels like you're sitting in the middle of the orchestra facing the audience, in which case the violins would be on this side and the cellos would be on this side. But this is the audience perspective. So we have the violins. It's kind of like the perspective that we're seeing on screen right now, which makes sense. Which is, it would be the perspective that you would be hearing things from the audience. So the violins would be sitting on this side of the stage, the cellos on this side, and then we're panning appropriately to kind of place each of the instruments in your kind of like auditory awareness of the fake space that we're listening to, right? Because when we're recording music, and this especially comes into play with orchestral music because there's so many little moving pieces in a big orchestra, we want you to feel like there's actual space that the sounds belong in, right? So when we apply reverb, we're thinking about like, what room is this in? For anyone that's like ever looked at reverb in a DAW, like a digital audio workstation, we are applying the reverb and it'll be like, this one's like an orchestra hall, and then you can tweak it from there. It's that idea, right? Like, you want to feel the physical space that these players are playing in. And so that's part of what this instrument panning does for the listener. Makes it feel more like a live performance, and it also moves the instruments a little bit out of each other's way in your actual like auditory awareness, which is also cool. So yeah, just a little tidbit about mixing orchestra and panning. This is a really fun vocalist to watch too.
Clair obscur, trouble de rature, courera effet. Clair obscur, gloire des hauts peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera.
So cool choice. We're widening the melody, which I talked about with another song, with the violin going up an octave from the vocalist. This is really lovely writing. The cello, they're kind of like in that previous phrase. Sorry, I know I'm stopping it a lot. I'm just excited to talk about string writing. They're kind of trading who has more movement in their little duet here, which I think is really lovely. So you'll get a sustained note in one of them as the other one is kind of taking the lead. So we're kind of passing this baton back and forth. This cellist has such nice tone. I mean, they both do. But that cello just sounds like a voice. I really like the detail that they're putting into the articulations with the strings here. I mean, it's just like, again, such lovely playing, but the line where she's saying Clair obscur, they have this really nice spiccato, spiccato is when you're playing shorter notes and you're lifting the bow off of the string a little bit to give it that bounce. And so they're really articulating it in a similar way as the vocalist. We're getting this like da 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 da, which is just like a really lovely detail. And I'm not sure, like I'd be curious if that was something that was written into the score. Obviously this composer seems like they have awesome attention to detail, or if it was like kind of an instinctual detail that these players are adding, because it just is so in touch with how the vocalist is also singing. And it also depends on like what did the string players hear when they recorded, and were they hearing the vocalist part or not, etc. Like whatever, chicken and egg situation there. But I just think it's a really lovely detail that we have that kind of same string articulation as the vocalist.
Clair obscur, trouble de rature, courbera effet. Clair obscur, dans les hauts peintures, trouvera sans elle.
Oh, really like warm vibrato too. On the pizzicato, it's really warm. These string players are so good. It's such a joy to watch them because they just like, this is a small enough group that all of their pieces are really, whenever they're popping out and doing a little solo, it's so exposed, and their playing is just like so gorgeous. It's such a joy to listen to. I'm having such a good time with this. This reminds me of how I felt about some of the Lies of P stuff, where I was like, that's just good fucking playing right there. Um, yeah. And I also like sometimes building to a place that feels really like big and a little bit more climactic with a smaller ensemble. I could see less experienced composers like not being sure what to do with that, and I feel like so far from what I've heard, there's been a really lovely approach to, like, it didn't feel unnatural when we suddenly had a full choir. Like, it was brought in a way that was really mindful of like the previous context that we had in the piece, which is really cool as well. I am loving these.